Hello, and welcome to the No Wrong Notes podcast, a show hosted by me, Veronica Kokis, holistic voice teacher and singer just like you. Grab a cup of tea, relax, and sit back as we discuss all things singing technique, mindset tips, and more so you can show up as the most confident and creative singer you can be. All right, so we are welcoming Miss Melissa Cartwright to the podcast today. Welcome, Melissa.
Hola, Vero. How are you doing, love?
Doing really well today. So do you want to just dive right into things?
Let's do it. We have so much to talk about. We have so many good things to talk about.
Yes, so many good things to talk about. So let's first start off with, who are you? What do you do? How did you get to where you are today in your career as a performer and a voice teacher?
Yes, I love this question because it's always good practice, right? Because there's a lot of things that can get us to where we are. But I'm kind of your typical singer in the fact that I always grew up doing it. Like I grew up doing it in church. I did the school choirs, I always thought that the dream was going to be becoming a recording artist. So I was a voice major in college, but within that, the dream kind of evolves, right? And then it's like, oh, well, I don't have a music business degree. Let me do an internship at a radio station, at a music television station, kind of like just consuming as much creative opportunities and knowledge as possible in addition to the actual function of the voice. And so I fell in love with musical theater as a teenager. So I fancy myself a musical theater nerd on top of appreciating all genres of music and contemporary music. I was classically trained in college, as many of us were. But I did not receive a lot of formal training in contemporary technique. And I stumbled into voice teaching. It was not the dream. In fact, it's so funny because I don't know if you experienced this. There was this well, I kind of still see it today, the whole those who can't do teach stigma, which is it's
Yep.
baloney. It is so BS. But I stumbled into it because there were many people asking me, do you teach? Do you teach? Do you teach? And so I got to a point where I decided to quit like the corporate job in radio television after having my first kid. And I was like, okay, I have some time. Why not? And it was a struggle at first because I was teaching from a place of, oh, this is like the backup plan. This is the backup plan. And then later on, we had a huge life change. We actually relocated. I'm originally from San Juan, Puerto Rico, grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. And so my family relocated to where we are now in Newport News, Virginia. And took a little break, had another kid, and then people were asking again. And my husband encouraged me. He's like, just give it a shot. See how you feel. It was a totally different experience because it was more organic. And I think I opened up my heart, my mind, my soul to the possibility of let this be whatever it needs to be. And it ended up being something beautiful and magical and transformative for me, and really opened up doors for continued training, in contemporary technique, which is what I specialize in, as well as helping performing singers who they know they want to share their voice in front of an audience. So how do we do that, right? And how do we grapple with the way that we're feeling, sounding, and the way that we look when we perform? So oddly enough, I shouldn't say oddly, it's actually been a beautiful compliment to rediscovering my own artistry in this season of my life. I am a fabulous 44 years old, and I feel like there's just this ownership of who I am as a performing singer, and being able to walk alongside that journey with the singers that I work with, and still having, my best friend says, girl, you got skin in the game, like still being out there doing the thing and encouraging singers to do the same thing.
Yes, yes. I really do appreciate how you share your journey on social media as an active performer, as someone who's doing this alongside of your students, who's regularly hired for gigs. For singers that hope to get more gigs of their own, how would you recommend they seek out those opportunities, and how would you recommend that they get started?
Great question. And it's going to be a very simple answer. If you keep telling people you sing and you want to do this, then you actually need to sing and do this. And what I mean by that is if you are very active on social media, go ahead and start singing on social media. In fact, one of my favorite gigs that I got here in the area that really catapulted what I've been doing here for the last 2 to 3 years is I did share a singing video. And it happened to be a local restaurant. My family and I went and ate there. I tagged them. Of course, I took an Insta-worthy picture of my delicious meal, and then they saw me and saw what I do. I happened to share a video of me singing a song that fit perfectly for the vibe that they were going for their patrons, and they were like, "Hey, so do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. Oh my gosh, what's the going rate here in the area?" Like I just committed, and then I figured it out, right? So really, you really have to be able to share your singing, whether that's on social media to market yourself. It's the easiest marketing. Go show up in person at some of your favorite places. They don't have to be restaurants. Restaurants seem to be easier because they're probably already advertising things like open mic nights, karaoke nights, and just simply ask the owners, would you be willing? And I think a lot of people think it's so systematic. It's actually, you just got to take messy action. You just got to take messy action and go do it and really market yourself online.
Yes. I totally agree with that. And it's like, especially in this day and age of like social media, like someone that I went to undergrad with, she's really active on Twitch. And so she'll do like streams where she's just singing and like doing opera and doing all this contemporary stuff. And so it's, there's so many avenues that you can take from just reaching out to these local restaurants or breweries. I mean, and wineries. I mean, I see that all the time when I go out places and whatnot, that there's always someone performing. They're always looking for performers. So that's so true. What other skills have helped you most as a dynamic performer on stage? And what skills do you think are essential for someone to put on a successful and engaging performance?
I love this question so much, and I love that it's coming from you because I have a relationship with you and I know your vibe. And a lot of people, they think, well, Melissa, I'm not dynamic, or I'm not charismatic even in the way that I come across, and a lot of people think that a successful stage career journey of singing that way is afforded to only those that look like extroverts on stage. And that is so not true. That's so not true. It's really an integration of knowing who you are as a human being, how your artistry really complements that, right? And how you're going to actually share that with your fan base. And I think it's getting really specific and being okay with the fact that you are not for everybody. You're not. You have a group of people that are really, really going to tap into who you are as an artist and connect with you that way. And I think being at peace with that and having solidarity with that, then that way you can focus on what you're really good at, right? Rather than like, oh my gosh, I have to be the next, Mariah or the next Ariana or the next Teddy Swims. We can learn from those artists, but what is your story, right? How do you convey that? And a lot of my singers have found as much fulfillment and joy in playing with being the very charismatic performer in front of an audience. But I have plenty of singers who they know the only stage they want to have is their YouTube channel. And that is fine. And they are able to look into that camera when they hit record and still find connection in very intimate ways that they're not this, they're not the Britney Spears mic or choreographed or anything like that. It's just, they know who they are. They know what they're saying, and they know how it's going to reach you and connect with you.
Yes, that's lovely. And you were saying about, how I really like how you're saying how everybody's got their own thing. And, with some of my students, they're definitely not that extrovert. They're not the person that maybe steps out on stage and is like, I'm here, jazz hands and all this stuff. They're maybe more introverted. They're maybe more anxious. Mm-hmm. And you have talked about your journey regarding anxiety online. Can you share some of the things that have helped you in navigating anxiety on stage?
Beautiful. Yes. It's funny that also, I don't know if you've had this experience too, or for anybody listening, if you are an introverted singer, you might be the one that actually comes alive on stage even more because for you, you kind of see it as protection. You kind of see it as I can step into a persona, and then I can just like retreat. I think that's awesome too. We actually talk about that a lot as a no, I wouldn't call it coping mechanism. I guess you could call it that, but really a tool at your disposal if you feel like that's how you best express yourself. So for me, in managing my own anxiety, a lot of times my anxiety is not about like seeing the people. It is about mismanaged expectations beforehand. The performance must go this way. And if it doesn't meet that expectation, I suck or whatever. And then that's where I experience the crash afterwards. What has helped me is just coming up with 3 empowering words that I can focus in on. I call these artist affirmations. I learned this from Dr. John Skidmore and the work of Lauren Ireland too through Sing Sana about just having these focal points to help manage that expectation. And that's all you focus on. So I had a gig this past Father's Day and I was just feeling really super grateful. Like a lot of times my husband and my kids can't always come to my gigs, but I knew that they would be there. And I just focused on 3 words, as I sing, as I perform, as I communicate, I am grateful. I am present. I am happy, and other ones I've used before are I am a storyteller. I'm resilient. I am meant for this, and when things get really fluttery, things don't go as planned. Maybe they're outside of your control. You're having sound issues or something's going on. I can come back to those 3 words and they center me and they ground me. And I know my purpose so that no matter what happens, I can walk away going, yep, I am very grateful that despite the sound issues or the AC not working, I am grateful that I had that opportunity, that I had people in my life that I love that were in there and supporting me. I was resilient. I was able to bounce back from those setbacks, work through them, and still felt great about my vocal delivery as well as my stage presence, right? And I was indeed happy, like there was an engagement at the start of my set. How cool is that? And then I opened up with a love song, and we were celebrating Father's Day. So again, it's not just about, oh my gosh, did I nail that note? Did I nail that riff? Did I belt that note the way that I rehearsed? It's your performance is so much more than whether or not you nailed the vocal technique.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what you were saying about, so I feel that the affirmations that you just offered up, those affirmations were very true for you. Like you had evidence, maybe from prior experiences, to back up those affirmations. Because one thing that, when it comes to affirmations, when it comes to mantra, I definitely believe that you should choose mantras and affirmations that feel true to you, because if you just kind of choose pie in the sky type affirmations, like
I agree.
yeah, like I am abundant, when you maybe don't have any evidence for that, I think it's harder to believe in that and harder to connect with that. So I really like that you chose those affirmations that, you had prior evidence for, like I am resilient. I've made it through all of these performances before successfully. And even if things weren't perfect, I am resilient. And I think that's really important. Going off of something that you were saying before about introverts stepping into kind of a different persona on stage, I want to dig into just a little bit of that really quickly. How can someone create a persona on stage? Like what maybe are questions they might want to ask themselves so they can really create? Because I think sometimes it helps. Like I think of Beyonce and when she was really promoting Sasha Fierce. And
yes.
So she was like stepping into that persona on stage. So I guess how can people create that kind of thing for themselves to maybe separate themselves from like what's going on with the audience and just kind of tuning in on their music and performance?
I love this so much. We actually talk about this in a stage presence workshop that I'll be conducting called Slay the Stage, but I'll give you a little preview. A lot of times we just liken it to, perfect example with Sasha Fierce, Lady Gaga. And you can take any other artist that has taken on a persona, right? And so if you feel as though taking on that personality, that performance personality, let's call it that, enables you to deliver the way that you want to, I think that's fabulous, right? Because that's, see, a lot of people think that this is contradictory to itself, but if you already know that this is the kind of artist you want to be, then it is true for you. I know that I want to take on a performance persona as Lady Gaga or whatever. It's going to be my artist name, and communicate that way. But I'll also add this, nobody has to know either. Maybe I am going to show up as Melissa V. Cartwright, but I have a performance persona that I take on when I get in front of a stage that helps me to deliver and helps me get the job done. One of my artists, in fact, in the first workshop that I hosted, did this. She's very much into like woodland Viking culture and everything. So she came up with a performance persona that was this powerful woman, fearless. She almost had like a warrior-like persona. And she knew that when she actually had a microphone in her hand, it was almost like a transformation process for her. And this is a person that has dealt with very crippling performance anxiety. And now she can step on a stage. Doesn't matter the genre, the tempo, the style, because that doesn't mean she's doing like all this fancy, really energetic music. Even in the most intimate, slow tempoed songs, she can tap into showing up 100%, because she has taken on that persona. Like when I step onto the stage, this helps me regulate and manage my anxiety. I'm able not only to get the job done, but I feel like I can actually be present with my audience. And you and I both know, how many times have we experienced, or we hear our singers experience, it was like a blur. Like I was done with the session. I was done with the show. I was done with the run. And I can't even remember a single thing I did. Very normal. But this helps us tap into, I can remember that moment when I connected with that person, or I saw that face, or, I sang in a way that surprised me in all the best ways. And so you can use it as a tool. It's just a tool. It doesn't mean you're being inauthentic to yourself. It's just a tool that helps you sing the way that you want.
Yes, it makes me think of the idea of manifestation, and how like in manifestation, you're envisioning maybe what you want to experience, maybe things that you want to have, experiences you want to have in your life. And I feel like this is another maybe example of that, where you're envisioning maybe the qualities that you want to embody on stage, like that you were talking about, that kind of woodland, like Nordic kind of powerful, like the way you described it made me think of, this is completely off topic, but it made me think of like Wagnerian, like
yes
like,
or Mother of Dragons, like
yes,
very much so.
yes so I love that. Speaking of the Slay the Stage program, can you tell us a little bit more about that program, and maybe share one more little practical piece of advice on how singers can slay their own performances and auditions?
Yeah, Slay the Stage. So this is actually a 4-week online, I call it a workshop, but really it's a live experience. So every week you get video tutorials that cover everything we just talked about, in addition to the actual logistics of, okay, I get up on stage and I look frozen, or I don't know what to do. So it's everything from mindset to actually how do you communicate and, let your body and your expression enhance what it is you've worked so hard on with your vocals. And then we end with some very practical connecting points as, okay, how do I get out into my community and do this? How do I create a set list? And there's bonus materials on that too. Every week we have a live coaching call so that you can actually flex those performance muscles. And I always say with group classes and calls, which I know you've experienced before, you will never have a friendlier audience than those people who are in that workshop with you, because everybody's doing the same thing, right? We all understand each other's journeys, and we're all working towards that goal. And so it is online because we've had singers part of the program from like London and the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast along with you. So it is accessible to you. There's recordings of the live calls when you can't make it. And basically we just celebrate each other, and there are practical steps about, okay, my audience is faces on a stage in front of people, or my audience is self-tapes, YouTube channel, social media. We really get detailed and specific so that you know who you are as an artist and how you want to communicate. And so yeah, that information is all on my website, right on the homepage at mvcperformance.com. We do kick things off on July 8th, and seating is limited, I should say, because we want everybody to be able to get lots of that one-on-one coaching, even inside of our group workshops as well. But you have access to all the materials once you've joined.
Yay, that sounds awesome. Very exciting.
Yeah.
All right, to kind of wind things down a little bit here, I'd like to do some rapid fire questions with you. So
let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. So my first one is, I think I know the answer to this one, but my first one is coffee or tea?
Ay, mamacita, café.
I know, I was like, coffee.
I know.
Let me ask, how do you prefer your coffee?
Listen, so my tummy's acting up.
Oh no.
So I should say I don't want to give it up. So what I'm doing is I'm backing off the dairy just a little bit.
Yeah.
I love my almond creamer.
Yes.
So cafecito with some almond a little bit of a flavored almond creamer. I love it just like that.
Yes. There's a brand, because obviously I've talked before about how we're vegan, and there's this creamer. There's actually this, I think it's like a coconut milk creamer by Laird that I like, that has like mushrooms in it or something. It's like for your, I know it's a little bit weird, but it's like really good.
Listen, like I'm looking into mushroom coffee, all the things, because of, yeah. So I am all about Laird. I'm going to look that up. Yeah,
that
definitely.
My next one is, what is a song that you're currently working on in your own singing?
Yes. Okay. So I'm actually refining this one. I've performed it a couple of times, but one of my personal goals this year was to get a little quicker in my riffing and agility. So nice. I have been Lose Control by Teddy Swims has been one that's, my singers are singing it in the studio. Yeah. I'm working alongside with them. We are all powering up our riffing game. Eventually, I'd love to find my own flavor in songs too. I'm an arrangement nerd as well. So eventually I'd like to play with like a bilingual version of that. Right now I've just done it. I've pretty much covered it like he does. Very soulful, very ding, 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 right there in the right hand. But yeah, that's one that I've been trying to just polish and really power up with.
That is so cool. I really like that. I think you've done some other songs with like a bilingual, like you've done some verses, or I think am I like making that up? Did you like,
no,
did you post it? I feel like because I really love that. I love how you incorporate some of that into your music. I think that's really, really neat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
What is a song that you've been playing on repeat lately?
Right now, okay. I know it's very basic, but Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso.
Yes.
only because it's everywhere. I know that. I have two teenage daughters. We are like, that's our start of summer song. We're belting it out in the car, but it is so stinking catchy, and I'm here for it.
It is so catchy, and it's like so fun. Like it's so lighthearted and fun.
It is.
And just like it's a good summer song.
It is a good summer song. And I don't know about you, like if you've, I'm guessing that you have singers who are singing this, with you as well. But
Yeah.
I appreciate some of these pop singers so much because they're really tapping into head voice and their higher range
Yeah.
and using breathiness on purpose and kind of
Mm-hmm.
destigmatizing that everything has to be loud and proud and
Oh,
belty. I'm
yeah.
like, look at her, look how flexible she is. She just
Yes.
playing with her tongue, coming up and down,
Uh-huh.
I
Same
mean,
thing
just
with her.
yeah.
Same thing with her song that just came out, Please, 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 where she uses a lot of that in the chorus. And same thing,
Yes.
you were talking about head voice and using more of that. Chapel Roan, I don't know if you listen to Chapel
Oh
Roan,
my
but
gosh, that's another one that's
the
being
Good
sung
Luck
forever and a
Babe,
day.
the Good Luck
Yeah.
Babe, where she uses so much of that. Love it. What is your favorite book?
Oh my gosh. Anything really by Brene Brown.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Brene
one.
Brown. So I don't read like a lot of novels and things like that. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times I'm reading like a lot of, self-development and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. But anything that woman touches with a pen or the typewriter with a computer
Yeah.
has been transformative for me just because of like the research backed up, with vulnerability and
Yeah.
all that. And it has been so applicable not only for me personally but as a voice teacher, and as a
Mm-hmm.
performer to help people just show up authentically.
Yes, I remember reading Daring Greatly. I think
Oh,
probably like 8 years ago when it came out, and I like literally changed my life reading that book. So I
yeah.
love that. That's so good.
Gifts of
Um,
Imperfection was the one for me that was like I
oh
need to
yeah,
I always come back to that one.
yeah, that one's a good one.
Yeah.
Um, what is a TV show you're currently binging or watching?
I just finished the second drop of Bridgerton.
Oh,
Oh my
nice.
goodness. Just finished this weekend. I had to catch up. I had to try to stay off social media so I wouldn't get any spoilers or anything. But I will say one that's kind of like my mindless go-to that's just sweet and funny is Acapulco on Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
It's just yeah, it's so cute. It's a throwback to the 80s and it's just one of those
Cool.
like feel good, mindless like wind down before bed kind of
Oh,
shows.
fun. Yeah. My last rapid fire question is, what is the best singing advice you've ever gotten?
There's so many I'm trying to sort through. Um, don't take yourself so seriously.
Mm, yeah. That's a really good
Don't
one.
don't take yourself so seriously, right? Like just be playful and
Hmm.
exploratory. And if you can stay in that, the longer that you can stay in that, the more you'll discover.
Yes, that is so good. Well, before we hop off here, where can listeners find out more about your work?
Yay! Well, I'm on the socials at MVC Performance. I'm very active on Instagram, but I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. My website is M as in Melissa, V as in Victor, C as in Cartwright, performance.com. And you can find out more information about the workshop, get registered. I'm really active on my DMs on Instagram too. You can shoot me a message. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the No Wrong Notes podcast, Melissa. This
Oh
has been
gosh,
so
I'm so
fun.
honored. So honored to be here with you, and you're doing such great work, Veronica. It's a pleasure to partner with you.
Yes. Thank you so much.